In many ways, you've been kind of a pioneer of digital distribution, and you've had a couple of, shall we say, disagreements with the music industry in the past over how to distribute content. I'm wondering if anything has kind of changed in the last couple of years. Like, how do you feel the industry is doing today from a business standpoint, and has that affected the way you make and distribute music?
I'm the product of having been on major labels. I get that. And I'm sure I owe some of my success to the fact I've been on that and I've come out of that system. So with that said, as you look at what's happened in the music industry in the last several years, the complete decimation of pretty much all aspects of it. I long for the days of going to the independent record store when I had a few extra dollars and buying a 12-inch from a band that I didn't know if it was good or not, but the cover looked good, and they were on a label that I really liked out of England, and, any spare income I had went into that, and music was my passion and my hobby and my record collection. My life could be in disarray, but don't scratch my records, don't just leave them alone. And I kind of miss the whole ritual of listening to music, bringing home vinyl and putting it on, and, cautiously getting into CDs and then realizing, oh, they actually sound good and they don't scratch. Great. And then when things transitioned into iPods and MP3s, I tried to approach it with an open mind, but realized, I was skeptical at first until I realized, I listen to a lot more music now than I used to because I have access to a lot more music and I can carry around a lot more stuff with me. If I go on tour, I don't have just one big box of CDs I'm lugging around. I can have thousands of albums on a hard drive or on my iPod. And I realized, I'm actually listening to a lot more music now. But it came at the cost of I don't pay as much attention to, I don't spend as much time individually with the music as I used to because I had more music. And I started watching that happen with everybody else, too. And then you see generations of people coming up that have never paid for music and expect it to kind of be free and never bought a CD. And then you see the shops where you used to go buy records disappear. Okay. And in the middle of this is these bureaucratic record labels that seem to have their heads firmly in the sand. Okay, how can we just pretend this isn't happening? And treat the fans like criminals and go out of their way to make products that people don't want. And I've been in the absurd position of being on a record label and finishing an album, and then you hand it over to them, and you wait several months for it to come out. And in the meantime, it leaks. And then all the rabid fans that can't wait to hear it, you're pissed off at, because you're not supposed to hear it that way. And it's not even about the money that you're not getting. It's about you've lost control. You've lost. I didn't want you to hear it as a bad MP3 ripped and that you're hearing on shitty iPod headphones.
Right.
But things are different, and I think it's foolish to long for those days that are never going to come back. I get that. So I spent a lot of time just thinking about how do people listen to music these days? How do people consume it? How do young people find out about new music? And I don't think billboards all over town, Coldplay style. I don't think that works. I don't think people believe that anymore. Certainly radio doesn't work. Nobody listens to the radio that I know. I don't. In fact, if I can't help it. Unless I'm trapped in a rental car or something, there's no way I'm going to listen to commercial radio. Do you?
No, I don't.
Unless it's public radio or if it's, a good college station, maybe. But, so you start realizing, hey, this whole system has changed, and the gatekeepers, the record labels, they have no idea what to do. They're the last people you should be asking. So the experiments that we've come up with 9 Inch Nails, for example, were just, it's not that I want to be a marketing guy. I'd rather not ever have to think about it. That's not why I started practicing piano when I was 5 years old, was to think about demographics and that kind of crap. But I realized nobody else seems to be figuring it out. And what surprised me in the last few years is that still, what are bands doing? They're still doing it the same old way. And I think there's a lot of fear, I think for a band to not offer part of their music free, or at least entice people, or at least befriend or encourage people to learn about their music, you're pretending that music isn't free, because it is. That's a fact. Everything you could ever imagine is out there. If you have a rudimentary skill of Google, it's there. That's a fact. So accept it. And doesn't mean you can't survive. It just means you have to adapt to a new climate that's out there. I don't think music should be free. I think people that make music should be compensated in some fashion, but that's a fight I can't win. I'm not going to be Metallica and try to, demonize everybody that uses the internet, because I do it. Anyway.
Understood. I have one last question for you, sir, and then I do appreciate you've been very generous with your time here. But the last question is...